the momentum did not continue. It very much stopped after my friends, my family, those people who knew me bought the book, right? And then everything stopped and slowed down. And that's when I realized, okay, now is when the work is starting. And I guess maybe it was because of my teaching background. At that time, a lot of people were doing like these 3-day challenges or these 5-day challenges. And I really liked the idea. I had participated in a few of them. I had really liked the idea of teaching a concept for a period of time. And then, at that point, that's what I got out of. Okay, they're building an audience. They're teaching the concept for a period of time. And so I had seen, I think it was Six Figure Chick, rest in peace to her, to CC. And there was a good number of people that were doing 3-day challenges and 5-day challenges. And so I was like, I want to do a challenge. And because I was teaching already and had been teaching for over a decade, doing a challenge came very easy for me. So whereas a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's so much work and this and that. I'm like, well, this is what I do every day. This is what I have been trained to do. This is what I went to school to do. This is what I've put in literally over 10,000 hours in teaching. I can design a challenge. I'm already designing curriculum. By that time, I had a master's degree in instructional design, curriculum and instruction. I was like, I can design a multi-day challenge, and it worked for me because I was able to do it from home, right? And so, like, unlike a lot of other people or a lot of other things that may have required me to leave home to do it, I was able to do this from home while my kids were asleep or in another room or whatnot. And so it worked for me. So I put together a 21-day challenge called Get Your House in Order. Some of my old heads, y'all been rocking with me for about 7 years at the time of this recording. You probably remember that. And I designed a 21-day virtual challenge based off of my book. It was called Get Your House in Order. And it was get your health, your finances, and I think it was health, it was finances, and it was time management, health, and finances in order. And so for every week, we focused on a different element. And these were also the pillars in which I had focused on in my book. And so I ran this 21-day challenge. I ran an ad for $5 a day to promote it, got 400 people registered for it, ran it in a Facebook group, and then there was crickets. Like, I could feel, like, internally and energetically, I could feel that there was supposed to be a next step, but I didn't know what that next step was supposed to be. I could just feel like we had all this momentum, and now the challenge is over, and it's just like, okay, now what next? Right. And so now then I had my book, I had this challenge. I started speaking all while I was working, my career as an educator. And now I'm like, okay, on to the next thing. Let me try to figure this out. So I was literally doing different things. I wrote the book. I did a challenge. I was speaking. Now the challenge was over. Now I'm like, okay, well, what's the next big thing? Am I going to write an ebook? I felt like I had to keep doing all these different things. But from that challenge, I could feel like there was supposed to be something else. I felt incomplete, right? And so long story short, some of the ladies that had done the free challenge with me came back a few months later and said, hey, the challenge was great. It helped me get off to a great start of the year. It's almost March. I feel like my year's just starting. Would you consider running it again? So by that time I had learned 21 days was way too long to do anything for free. So I had done it again. And this time I charged $10 for it. And we had 10% of the 400, we had like 10% of those, they came and paid for it. So we had like 35 people that came and paid for it. And now I went through it with them. I redid the workbook. I went through it with them as a paid challenge. And then I upsold into a monthly membership. It was $25 per month. And that's how I started at that time, the Pearls of Power membership. It was a monthly membership community, and it was great. It worked out, and that was my first taste of monthly recurring revenue. And I didn't realize it at that time, but I had my book, I had a virtual workshop, I had a challenge, and I had a signature talk that I was giving. Like, I had created an ecosystem, right? Where I was generating monthly recurring revenue based off of a program that I created as an extension of my book. So it's like, yeah, here's the book. But if you want to actually have an opportunity to implement on the principles that I share in this book in real time, then there's a fee for that. And so I'm running Pearls of Power. I never did the 21-day challenge again But now I'm running Pearls of Power. So now I'm speaking and enrolling people in Pearls of Power, speaking and enrolling people in Pearls of Power. And so I want you guys to learn from my mistakes that I kept switching things up when really I should have just kept rinsing and repeating the thing that had already been proven to work. I was running ads. Like I had taught myself how to run a basic ad. I was running ads to a workshop. I facilitated the workshop, sold into a membership, and was running the membership. I should have kept rinsing and repeating. And even though I had a coach, I didn't have a coach to tell me, hey, this worked for you. Why would you change this? And so I was just trying to figure things out. And because of the success, and of course I was selling books, I was selling bulk orders of my book. I was speaking. So people saw me doing a lot. I had this membership. So they're like, listen, can you help me write my book? Can you help me publish my book? Can you help me do what you've done? And that's where the services started coming in, because now people were seeing the visibility. They were seeing the momentum, and now they wanted me to help them do it. And that was my introduction into premium price and high ticket. And so when I started doing done for you services, that's when I actually started my publishing agency, and I was selling anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 packages. And then after investing $2,000 to work with a coach for 3 hours, we got rid of the $1,000 package because nobody was buying it. We kept the package that people were buying. That became the floor. And then we created a higher tier offer, which was a $5,000 package. I was so scared to sell a $5,000 package. I didn't think that anybody would buy it. But listen, as soon as I released it, that was the first package that somebody bought. $5,000 paid in full. I was like, oh my God, my life changed, because you got to understand that $5,000 that I got, developed this package, that was more than what I was getting paid as an educator with a master's degree in a month. Matter of fact, at that time I had a specialist degree. I had 3 degrees, my bachelor's, my master's, my specialist. I wasn't even getting paid for my specialist, because in the state of Georgia, even though my specialist degree was in educational leadership and curriculum and instruction, I wasn't getting paid for that advanced degree because I wasn't in a leadership position. I was a department chair, but I had to be in a leadership position outside of the classroom in order to be paid a step up on that degree. So I literally had a degree I wasn't being paid for. And with this one package, now I was paid more than I was making in a month on my job. And that really changed the game for me.